You know that feeling when your phone buzzes and you just know something bad is about to happen? That's exactly what I felt when I saw my mom's name flash across my screen on December 15th. My name is Madison, and I'm 31 years old. Before we dive into this story, let me know in the comments. What time are you watching this video? And where are you watching from? Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me. Now, let me tell you about the text that destroyed my Christmas. I was at work, finishing up a project before the holiday break. I'd already bought gifts for everyone, booked my flight home to Denver, and even splurged on a new dress for Christmas dinner. I was excited. For once, I thought this year would be different. My phone lit up. Madison, we need to talk. Call me when you can. My stomach dropped. Mom never texted like that unless something was wrong. I stepped out of my office and called her immediately. Hey Mom, what's going on? Is everything okay? There was a pause. A long, uncomfortable pause that made my heart race. Honey, listen, she started, and I could hear that fake gentle tone she used when she was about to say something hurtful. Dad and I have been talking, and we think it might be better if you skip Christmas this year. I literally stopped walking. People were passing me in the hallway, but I stood there frozen. What? Why? It's going to be really chaotic this year, she continued. Your brother is bringing his new girlfriend, and you know how small the house gets when everyone's there. Plus, with your sister's twins, it's just going to be overwhelming. We thought maybe you'd prefer a quiet Christmas at your place. Prefer? Mom, I already bought my plane ticket, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I've had this planned for months. I know, sweetie, and I'm sorry. But honestly, it might be for the best. You've been saying how stressed you are with work. Maybe you could use the time to relax. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her that I'd been looking forward to this for months, that I'd worked extra hours to make sure I could take time off, that I'd missed Thanksgiving because of a work emergency and she'd promised Christmas would be special. But I didn't, because I've learned that arguing with my mother is like talking to a wall, pointless and exhausting. Okay, I said quietly. If that's what you want. It's not about what I want, Madison. It's about what's best for everyone. You understand, right? No, I didn't understand. But I said yes anyway. I hung up and stood there in that hallway, watching coworkers walk by with their Santa hats and holiday cheer, and I felt like I'd just been punched in the chest. That night, I canceled my flight. I returned the gifts I'd bought. I hung up my new dress in the back of my closet, where I wouldn't have to look at it. I told myself it was fine. I told myself I'd have a peaceful Christmas alone. I told myself that maybe Mom was right. Maybe it would be too chaotic. But deep down, I knew the truth. I'd always known the truth. I wasn't invited because I'd never really been wanted. See, I'm the middle child. My older brother, Derek, is the golden boy, successful lawyer, picture-perfect life. My younger sister, Ashley, is the baby who can do no wrong, with her adorable twins and her Instagram-worthy family. And then there's me. Single, child-free, working in marketing. Not impressive enough for my parents' standards. Not broken enough to need their help. Just there. Or in this case, not there. I spent the next few days trying to be okay with it. I made plans to volunteer at a soup kitchen on Christmas Day. I bought ingredients to cook myself a nice meal. I told my friends I was fine when they invited me to their family gatherings. But then, 3 days before Christmas, everything changed. I was scrolling through Instagram during my lunch break when I saw it. A post from my mother's account, and my entire world shattered. The photo was beautiful, I'll give her that. The entire family was arranged around our living room. The same living room where I'd spent 18 Christmases before moving out. The tree was decorated exactly how we'd always done it, with the angel on top that my grandmother had passed down. The stockings were hung above the fireplace. All 5 stockings. But here's the thing. There were 6 people in that photo. Derek was there with his new girlfriend, Stephanie. Ashley was there with her husband and the twins. Dad was in his usual armchair. Mom was standing beside him, beaming. And sitting in what used to be MY's spot on the couch was a woman I'd never seen before. The caption read, "So blessed to have our complete family together this Christmas. Special shout out to Stephanie for making our family whole again. Hashtag family first, hashtag Christmas magic, hashtag blessed, asterisk asterisk." I read it 3 times. Complete family. Whole again. Like I'd been a missing piece that they'd finally replaced. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I zoomed in on the photo. The woman, Stephanie, was wearing a sweater that looked suspiciously like the one I'd left at my parents' house last year. She was holding one of Ashley's twins, smiling like she belonged there. And maybe she did. Maybe she belonged there more than I ever had. I scrolled through the comments. What a beautiful family. You must be so proud. Stephanie fits right in. My Aunt Carol had commented. Finally, all together. Asterisk asterisk. Finally. I clicked on Stephanie's profile. It was public, thankfully, because I needed to know who had replaced me. She was 28, a pediatric nurse, loved hiking and baking. Her profile was full of photos with Derek, at restaurants, on vacation, at family events I hadn't been invited to. Wait, family events I hadn't been invited to? I scrolled back through the photos. There was Thanksgiving, Mom and Dad's anniversary party in October, Derek's birthday in September. She'd been integrated into my family for months, and nobody had told me. I kept scrolling on Mom's Instagram. More photos appeared. Stephanie helping Mom in the kitchen. Stephanie playing with the twins. Stephanie and Ashley shopping together with the caption, Sister Day. So grateful for my girls. My girls. Not my daughters. My girls. Including Stephanie. I sat there in my office, staring at my phone, and something inside me just broke. All those times Mom had been too busy to call me back. All those family events that were suddenly just immediate family. All those group chats I'd mysteriously stopped being added to. It wasn't about chaos. It wasn't about the house being too small. They'd found someone better. Someone who fit their image of the perfect family. Someone who wasn't me. I looked at the date on the photo. It was posted 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, while I was at work, trying to convince myself that spending Christmas alone was fine. My family was having a pre-Christmas celebration without me. And not only without me, they were celebrating the person who'd replaced me. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Jenna. Babe, did you see your mom's post? WTF. So other people had noticed too. Other people could see what I'd been trying to deny for months. I wasn't part of this family anymore. I'd been written out, edited out, replaced by a better version. I spent the rest of that afternoon in a daze. I went through the motions of work, but my mind was spinning. I felt humiliated, betrayed, angry, heartbroken, but mostly, I felt stupid. Stupid for believing that too chaotic actually meant too chaotic. Stupid for thinking my family loved me as much as I loved them. Stupid for not seeing the signs earlier. That night, I sat in my apartment, staring at that Instagram post, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this go. I wasn't going to quietly disappear from my own family. I was going to show up. Have you ever been so angry that you become calm? That's where I was. I'd moved past crying, past rage, past that hollow feeling in my chest. Now I was just determined. I called the airline. My canceled flight. They could reinstate it for a fee. Money I definitely didn't want to spend. But at this point, it was worth every penny. I'd like to rebook my flight to Denver for December 24th, please. Next, I texted my Aunt Carol. She was my dad's sister, and while she'd commented on Mom's post, she'd also always been straight with me. Hey Aunt C, can we talk? It's important. She called me within 5 minutes. Madison, honey, I saw your mother's post. I'm so sorry. I didn't know they'd uninvited you until I saw that picture. Did you know about Stephanie? I asked directly. Aunt Carol sighed. I met her at Thanksgiving. Your mom introduced her as Derek's serious girlfriend. And, well, she was very friendly with everyone. I didn't think much of it until I realized you weren't there. Nobody told me about Thanksgiving, or any of the other events she's apparently been at. I know, sweetheart. And it's not right. Your mother has been going on and on about how Stephanie is exactly what the family needed, and how refreshing it is to have someone so put together around. It made me uncomfortable, honestly. Put together. Code for not like Madison. Aunt Carol, I need a favor, I said. I'm coming home for Christmas, but I don't want anyone to know until I show up. Oh, Madison, I don't know if that's a good idea. Please. I need to see for myself. I need to understand why I was replaced. And I need to do it on my terms, not theirs. There was a long pause. Then, okay. But honey, prepare yourself. Your mother has gone all out this year. She's treating Stephanie like she's already part of the family. It might hurt to see. It already hurts, Aunt Carol. At least this way I'll have closure. We talked for another hour. She told me everything. How Mom had been pressuring Derek to propose to Stephanie, how Ashley and Stephanie had become best friends, how Dad had mentioned multiple times how nice it was to have a nurse in the family. A nurse. Someone respectable. Unlike my just marketing job. That night, I started planning. Not revenge exactly, but clarity. I needed them to see what they'd done. I needed them to face me and explain why I wasn't good enough anymore. I spent the next 2 days preparing. I screenshotted Mom's Instagram post, along with all the others featuring Stephanie. I scrolled back through months of text messages, finding all the times Mom had canceled plans or claimed to be too busy to visit. I documented everything. I also reached out to a few other people. My cousin Jake, who'd always been cool with me. My grandmother's best friend, who still considered me family even if my parents didn't. I told them I was coming home and asked them to keep it quiet. The support I got was overwhelming. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who'd noticed my family's behavior. Apparently, a lot of people had been uncomfortable with how I'd been treated, but didn't know how to bring it up. "Your mom's been acting weird for months," Jake texted me. "Always talking about how complete the family is now. It was like you were dead or something." That stung, but it also validated what I'd been feeling. On December 23rd, I packed my bag. I included printouts of the Instagram posts and text messages. I wasn't sure what I'd do with them, but I wanted physical evidence of what had happened. I also packed the gifts I'd originally bought for everyone. If this was going to be my last Christmas with them, and it probably would be, I was going to do it right. As I boarded the plane the next morning, my hands were shaking. I had no idea what would happen when I showed up, but I was about to find out. Christmas Eve, 6:47 p.m. I stood outside my childhood home, looking at the warm glow from the windows. I could hear laughter inside. Christmas music playing. The sounds of a perfect family celebration. A celebration I wasn't invited to. I'd taken an Uber from the airport directly here. I hadn't told anyone I'd landed. My suitcase was still in the trunk. I'd asked the driver to wait 15 minutes, just in case I needed a quick escape. I took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. The laughter stopped. Footsteps approached. The door opened. My brother Derek stood there, mouth literally hanging open. "Madison? What? What are you doing here?" "Merry Christmas to you too," I said, pushing past him into the house. The scene before me was like a Norman Rockwell painting. Tree lit up, presents everywhere, the dining table set for 8 people. Mom was in the kitchen doorway, frozen with a serving spoon in her hand. Dad was half standing from his chair. Ashley was on the couch, eyes wide. And there, sitting in MY spot, wearing MY old sweater, was Stephanie. "Surprise," I said flatly. Mom found her voice first. "Madison, sweetie, what are you doing here? I thought we discussed." "You discussed," I interrupted. "You told me not to come because it was too chaotic. So imagine my surprise when I saw your Instagram post about your complete family being whole again." The room went dead silent. "That's not. I didn't mean." Mom stammered. "Complete family," I repeated, pulling out my phone. "Let me read that caption again. So blessed to have our complete family together. Special shout out to Stephanie for making our family whole again." That's what you wrote. 3 days after uninviting me. Stephanie looked uncomfortable. "Good. Madison, you're taking this out of context," Mom said, setting down the spoon. "Stephanie is Derek's girlfriend. Of course we're excited to include her." "Include her?" I laughed, and it came out bitter. "You didn't just include her, Mom. You replaced me with her. Look around. That's my spot she's sitting in. That's my sweater she's wearing. Those are probably my childhood Christmas decorations she helped put up." "Now that's not fair," Dad said quietly. "Nobody replaced you." "Really?" I walked to the mantel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stockings. 5. There used to be 6. "Where's mine, Dad?" He didn't answer. "It's in the attic," Ashley said softly. "Mom said she didn't have room for all of them this year." "Didn't have room," I repeated. "But she had room for Stephanie's." "How long have you been coming to family events, Stephanie?" Stephanie looked at Derek helplessly. He stepped forward. "Madison, don't take this out on her. She didn't do anything wrong." "I know she didn't," I said. "This isn't about her. This is about our mother actively erasing me from this family and replacing me with someone she likes better." "That's not true," Mom protested. "I love you, Madison. You're my daughter." "Am I?" I asked. "Because your Instagram says otherwise. Let me show everyone what else I found." I started swiping through screenshots. "Thanksgiving with Stephanie, no Madison." Anniversary party with Stephanie, no Madison. Derek's birthday with Stephanie, no Madison. Sister shopping day with Ashley and Stephanie, no Madison. Ashley had tears in her eyes. Maddie, I wanted to invite you to that, but Mom said. Mom said what? I turned to my mother. What did you tell them? Mom's face was red. I said you were busy. You're always so busy with work, and Stephanie was available, and she's a pediatric nurse, right? I cut her off. Let me guess. You finally have someone in the family who has a real profession? Someone who's not just in marketing. Someone who wants kids and fits your image of the perfect daughter. The guilty look on Mom's face told me everything. That's it, isn't it? I said quietly. I wasn't enough. So you found someone who was. The room was so quiet you could hear the Christmas music playing softly in the background. Some cheerful song about joy and family and togetherness. It felt like a cruel joke. Madison, please, Mom said, and for the first time, I heard something genuine in her voice. Fear. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? I laughed. Mom, you literally uninvited me from Christmas, posted about how complete your family is without me, and integrated my replacement into every family event for the past 4 months. And I'm making a scene. She's not your replacement, Derek said, but he didn't sound convinced. Isn't she? I looked at Stephanie. I'm sorry you're in the middle of this. I'm sure you're a lovely person. But tell me, did anyone mention I existed before you saw me tonight? Stephanie looked at Derek, then at my mom, then back at me. They said you were really busy with work. That you preferred to do your own thing during holidays. Preferred, I repeated. Sure, because being excluded from your own family is definitely a preference. That's enough, Dad said, standing up. Madison, I think you should leave. Something inside me cracked. My father, the man who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework and told me I could be anything I wanted, was asking me to leave. You know what's funny, Dad? I said, and my voice was shaking. I've spent my entire adult life trying to make you proud. I got my degree. I got a good job. I bought my own apartment. I've been independent and successful and everything you always said you wanted me to be. I looked at Mom. But it was never enough, was it? Because I didn't get married young like Ashley. I didn't have a prestigious career like Derek. I didn't give you grandchildren. I wasn't the daughter you wanted, so you found one who was. That is not true, Mom said, but her voice wavered. Then explain the Instagram post, Mom. Explain the missing stocking. Explain why Stephanie knows more about what's happening in this family than I do. Ashley spoke up, wiping her eyes. Maddie, I'm sorry. I should have said something. I should have invited you to things. But Mom kept saying you wouldn't want to come, and it was easier to just go along with it. Easier, I nodded. It's always easier, isn't it? Easier to exclude me than to deal with Mom's disapproval. Easier to pretend everything's fine than to acknowledge that our mother has been systematically removing me from this family. I looked around at all of them. My parents, my siblings, even Stephanie, who looked like she wanted to disappear into the couch. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. I'm going to leave. I'm going to spend Christmas at Aunt Carol's, because apparently she's the only family member who thinks excluding someone is wrong. And after Christmas, I'm going to go back to my life. Madison, Mom started. I'm not finished, I interrupted. You're going to keep posting your perfect family photos. You're going to keep pretending that everything is wonderful and complete. And in a few months, when you realize you need something from me, whether it's help with something or money, or just someone to make you feel like a good mother, I won't be there. You don't mean that, Dad said quietly. I do, I said, because I've finally learned something important. I don't need people in my life who make me feel like I'm not enough. Even if those people are my parents. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Derek called after me. Madison, wait. Can we talk about this? I turned back one last time. There's nothing to talk about, Derek. You made your choice when you brought Stephanie to Thanksgiving and didn't tell me. Ashley made her choice when she went shopping with her and didn't invite me. Mom and Dad made their choice when they took down my stocking. I looked at Stephanie. Enjoy your complete family. I hope you fit better than I did. And with that, I walked out. Epilogue, 30 seconds later. I sat in the Uber, hands shaking, tears finally falling. My phone buzzed. Multiple texts coming in. Ashley, Maddie, I'm so sorry. Please come back. Derek. Let's talk after the holidays. Please. Even Stephanie. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Asterisk. But nothing from mom or dad. And somehow, that told me everything I needed to know. The driver pulled away from my childhood home, and I watched it disappear in the rearview mirror. You okay back there? The driver asked gently. I will be, I said. And for the first time in months, I actually believed it. 6 months later, asterisk. I blocked them all on social media. I changed my number. I sent a group email explaining that I needed space and time, and that I'd reach out if and when I was ready. I never did reach out. Aunt Carol tells me mom asks about me sometimes. That she claims she never meant for things to go that way. That she just wanted everyone to be happy. But she never apologized. She never took accountability. She never admitted that what she did was wrong. And honestly, I don't need her to anymore. I spent the last 6 months building a family of choice, friends who celebrate me, colleagues who value me, a community that makes me feel whole. I'm not a replacement for anyone anymore. I'm not someone's second choice. I'm not too much or not enough. I'm just Madison, 31 years old. And finally free. My name is Madison, and I'm not your replacement option. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you ever been made to feel replaceable by your family? How did you handle it? Asterisk. And please, subscribe for more real stories about choosing yourself over people who don't choose you. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is permission to walk away.